I want to bring to the table a guy that I've been talking to via text and on the internet, calling back and forth for several months now. It's been incredible to see him burst onto the No Prep Kings scene. I got to see his program firsthand this past weekend at the Texas Motorplex. Massively impressed what this guy's been able to do in a relatively short amount of time, quickly become a threat in the mix to win every time they head out. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Robin Roberts. What's going on, brother?
Hey, how are you? Can you hear me?
I can. You sound good too. You sound
Oh,
good.
well, thanks.
It's
Yeah,
deep,
yeah.
deep, kind of deep baritone thing. It's powerful. It's
Oh, well,
powerful.
that's maybe hope it's just how I am, but I got a good mic. We got a good setup here.
No, you sound killer, man. Well, hey, I
Thank
got
you.
to see the No Prep Kings in their fine form, in my opinion. The show that you guys put on at the Texas Motorplex, I've been raving about it. I take we kind of take heat for whoever we're cheering on because we want to see every part of
Right.
drag racing be successful. That's like the dirty secret, or the thing that we don't talk about, is that
Yeah.
I'm a believer that a high tide lifts all boats, Robin.
Oh, I
I
am
think
too.
what's good for No Prep Kings, in my opinion, is good for the NHRA, which is
Yeah.
good for No Mercy and Donald Long and Radial Tire Racing, which is good for NMCA and PDRA. I want to see drag racing of all walks succeed, but you guys really put on an incredible show this past weekend. I got to say, I'm not super familiar, Robin, with your story. Could you kind of bring me up to speed? I'm getting to know you rather quickly through the show on Monday nights, and it's been fun. But can you give me a little bit of your backstory and how you arrived racing in this series with a really fast 3-second door car?
Yeah. Well, I grew up. This is all I wanted to do was race cars, right? And race street cars. That was a big goal of mine. So when I got going in my career a little bit, I built up a Trans Am and then took it to Hot Rod Magazine events, and we did great in the pump gas drags and things like that, and that was just the street racing aspect was just, I mean, all my heart was for, and so through that and kind of getting in the magazines and becoming relatively popular because of the way that we raced and who we raced and all the things that we did. I kind of got to know Big Chief, not like on a friendship level, but I became known to him. So he would reach out to me a couple times here and there for Pontiac Tech, and we would talk. And I just thought a lot of those guys, and I watched that take off. And there was a time in my life where I had 4 daughters in high school at the same time. So for me, it was a step back from racing about that time. And that was about the time that the Street Outlaws thing started to just roll. So I took some time off and did some airport races and things and just kind of goofed off with the Trans Am. And I watched this phenomenon go on, and I watched No Prep, and I thought that is really cool. Like I want to get over and go do that. And so I went and found a car, bought this car on a Christmas, like after Christmas. And Chief was actually the one to put me onto it. He said, we had dinner at PRI, and he said, man, if I was looking for a car and I was you, I would call this guy. And it was the guy who built the Chrome on. It was Terry Murphy. So I looked at, he's in Kansas City. I said, well, Terry Murphy's in Kansas City. And he said, yeah, that's the guy. So I called Terry, and I said, hey, Terry, how are you? I introduced myself. I said, here's what I'm looking for. I said, I want a 68 Firebird. I want it on a Promod chassis. I'd like to do these things with it. And then, but I need to kind of get it done pretty quick. What do you think? And he got real quiet. He said, well, I have one of those. I was stunned because I've been talking to people about building a car, 9 months, a year, all things like that. And I didn't want to take that time. And I said, what do you mean you have one? He said, yeah, it's my car. It's my high school car. And I love things with history. So this car had been his high school car. He'd driven it and street raced it around, or done the things he'd done around Kansas City, racing it, had a huge reputation around here. And so I said, well, let me come look at it. So as he said, I don't want to sell it. I built it for me. We just spent 4 years building. I just finished it. It's never run. It's never even been, rolled a tire. He said, but I just went through an ugly divorce. If you want to look at it, come on out. So I go to his place. I look at it, and it is nice. Like I walk in there, and I was blown away how nice this car is and how well you've done. It's just amazing car. And so I tell him, thank you for letting me look. I sit in it. It's a little tight, but it looks like it can be adjusted for me. Terry's at least 6 foot. I'm a big dude. So I can't get in a car if somebody owned or built it for a 5'6" guy. So I said, thank you for letting me look at it. Melody and I drive out, and we're driving home. And Melody says, so you're going to buy it? It's awesome. And I said, no, I don't think so. She said, why? It's nice. It's great. And I said, yeah, but it's too nice. Like, I race. We're going to take this thing racing. If the tire is rubbing or something, I'm going to cut it off. We're racing. And that car is too nice. So we go home, and I think about it a few days and look around a little bit more. I finally just call him back and said, okay, can I go look at it again? So we go out, look at the car, make a deal, buy the car, bring it home, go to work on it. And then just started like going to little races here, small no preps, then Armageddon. And I end up at Armageddon, the first Armageddon. And the very first chip draw, first Armageddon, I draw Chief. Like, of all the dumb luck, I draw Chief. And so it's 2 Pontiacs. It's, we tacitly know each other. We're not like, tight or anything, but we know of each other, and no one else really knows of me. And we run down the track, very first pass down that track with a set of turbos, and I beat him. And it was a big deal to us, a big deal to the team. It kind of set us on the radar now everyone knows who we are. It starts a kind of boiling from there. The car gets into PRI. We go and do a bunch of little races. And really that's kind of where we just chipped away at it. And next thing you know, I meet Monza and become buddies with him and Ryan Martin and all of them. And pretty soon it just boils into come race. And
it's crazy because awesome. what an introduction to drag racing, though, right? Like, there's a lot of different places to like go get your feet wet or, go kind of get started. But to get started in this particular arena, like tabling the competition, just like the drama and the energy and the atmosphere. I mean, we've seen a little bit of that unfold on the show, Robin, that it's like, this isn't for the faint of heart. And if you don't have some of that, I mean, can you tell us what has that experience been like? Because it's one thing, like, obviously you could tell us about running the car and what you've learned, but it's a whole other thing racing in such a chaotic environment. And that's no shot at like the organization of the event.
No.
I actually think the events are very well run, but that's like awesome. All these personalities and the focus on the personality and all these storylines that are kind of always developing. Has it been hard to get like a handle on that? I saw you like post an apology on Facebook today, and I thought, you know what, that's interesting. I mean, how many racers are put in a position where they've got to like apologize for something that they said in the heat of the moment that they didn't mean or whatever? I mean, what has that experience been like?
Well, that's exactly what happened. And, what makes No Prep Kings so awesome and why people enjoy it, why they enjoy Street Outlaws, is because it's raw. It's raw. It's behind the scenes. It's all the things that happen. It shows. I mean, you look at NHRA and they get an interview between the rounds and then you never see them again, right? You don't get to see them make the mistakes. They are polished in that. They're taking care of their sponsors. They're doing their thing. Look, we're raw. And so I had one of those moments a few months ago where I just literally I honestly said, I think I said the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I've never said anything so stupid to a person that I thought very highly of. And it hurt them. I knew it hurt them. It hurt me when I'm not in the moment because, you in all honesty, we got all the money in the sport. We got all our passion in the sport. We got all our time. We're there trying to win a race. You're trying to do certain things. You've invested so heavily just your entire life and your attitude and passion. And so I got upset over something I should not have been upset about. Not as upset as I was. I mean, there's a reason to be upset, but not as upset as I was. And I kind of took it out on a kid who didn't deserve it. And that was my fault. And so for me issuing that apology today is because the show aired last night and I didn't know, the other thing is you kind of forget about it. I mean, him and I talked it out afterwards and I went to him and just profusely apologized. Said, man, I can't believe I said that. And that was not right. It's all my fault. Nothing you did deserve that. And so then it comes back 2 months later and it's like, you got to relive it again. And not only
that's what I was just going to ask about.
Now
because that's such a weird thing to have to not only did you have to deal with it in that moment, but shit, now I've got to deal with the whole world talking about it.
And now it goes out to however many people would watch it on the night, which is huge. Obviously it's a huge platform. So it goes out to the world and the world sees it and they think the same thing, right? You're an asshole, you're an idiot. And I'm like, yeah, I am. I can't believe I did that.
Is that the tact you take, man? I mean, is that the advice that you give to people? Like, hey, in those moments, you just got to own it.
Now everyone does it different. I mean, there are the people who attack back. There are the people, and you have some of them that just don't care. Like, whatever, man. Like, I told him that, and that's how it went. And everyone's got their personality. And that's the neat thing about No Prep Kings too. Is like, there's so many different types of people. And I'm the type who I was hurt as much when I saw it again as I'm sure Brandon was the original time. I was like, man, I still can't believe that happened. And I said that. And so, you're reliving it, and then the world's hearing it, and then they're hammering you, and rightfully so. I earned that one, whatever they say. And so for me, you asked how I would handle it. Like how I handled it is I told my daughter, told everybody, I said, look, I'm just going to post out an apology. Everything, whatever they want to say on my Facebook or whatever they can say, I'm going to let it stand. I earned it. And so that's how I've treated it. It's not, I mean, I can never go back and redo that. But
I just did tell you, man, like that's what a stand-up way to handle it. Like, I don't, I'm not here to blow smoke up your ass, but like that, I think that's a stand-up way to handle it, man. I think that's an incredible thing. And I can't imagine if everybody like that was involved in competitive high-level drag racing had to answer for everything they said in the heat of the moment, or every feeling they had in the heat of the moment. That's a tough pill to swallow. And I was going to ask you, and you mentioned your daughters, and I don't obviously know your family, but I mean, did you have to like kind of get everybody together and say like, hey, dad's on TV. We're very visible right now. We're probably, I've argued the last few weeks that this is the most significant platform that exists in drag racing. Did you have to kind of brace everybody for impact, or did you do that before the show even started?
So far, in all honesty, I've held a pretty good reputation through the shows. And not that I was even really trying to, just that I'm a pretty calm guy. I generally take things pretty well. There's one thing and it's the thing that set this off that really kind of pisses me off about No Prep Kings. And it just kind of gets under you a little bit, and I need to let that go, and I have since, but at that time obviously I hadn't. And so for me,
so what's that, like the team orders type of stuff, or
no, this light thing?
The jump in the light thing.
This light just is, to me, it's stupid.
Is it fixed?
Supposedly and now I heard in the last 4 races it's been fixed, and so
because we heard that you jumped Monday night, or it's I mean, that was I had heard that. And I'm not like trying to stir shit. I'm just talking because it's interesting.
Hey, it's worth talking about. But
yeah, man.
That's an upcoming episode, so I won't go too deep, but I'll talk a little bit.
So, I mean, we watched it. I was actually out at the Motorplex, got invited out. Boosted asked me to come, and I was, honored to get invited. And I'm going to talk about it later in the show, so I'll save it because we're here to talk to you. But I was massively impressed. But in that semifinal round, it did look like, it was close. But in that, we understand talking to different people. We've talked to, who all have we talked to? We've talked to Lonnie Grimm. We talked to Jim Hughes. We talked to Boosted right here on the show, talking about doing away with the time that typically would illuminate the ambers. Right. Can you take us through like where the jumping situation is right now? Do you think you jumped this past weekend? And what can we do to fix this? Because it's the worst. No Prep Kings doesn't deserve it. To be honest, it's like the only thing anybody can say negative about it is that whole situation.
And here's the worst part. The fans do not understand it. Nobody understands it except the drivers that are there trying to do it. And there's some that really kind of have it figured out. And so it's a mess. I think it's a mess, and I think it has to be fixed. And there is a way to fix it. And from what I understand, they have done that. And so, and you're asking about Saturday night. I mean, for me, I roll in, I let go of the button. I thought it was good. I go down the end, I feel pretty good about the run. I get out. I say to Cody, "Hey man, how'd it go? I really didn't get to see you." And I like Cody. And he said,
fast car too.
Oh, very fast car. And he said, "Did you take a shot at the light?" And a stop is like, "No." I stopped. I was like, then your brain starts running, right? Did I? I mean, I'm thinking. And I said, "No, Cody, I would never do that." And I started walking away. I'm like, again, you're second guessing. Did I? I don't know. Because now I'm thinking, I'm pretty sure soccer, and then you're running through your head like all the scenarios. here comes my crew. They roll up in the car. My crew chief gets out, and everybody knows Alan. And when he comes around, he says, "What's up?" And I said, "Dude, did I jump?" And he said, in the most firm tone, he said, "Absolutely not." And I said, "Okay." So I get in the car, we start pushing down, and go back to the pits, and we're there for a while, starting getting ready, and then I hear scuttlebutt, and this is normal MPK stuff, drama about somebody thinks this and that, and
somebody swings by the pit, and
but
I
nobody
heard
comes up
this
it.
or whatever. Yeah. Oh, really? Nobody came to see you.
Nobody comes to see me. Nobody comes over and says, "Hey, you jumped." Cody doesn't come over. Nobody comes over. Right? We go to work on the car. We have a cracked inlet tube. They come over to do the OTF, which is the outtakes, and they stick a camera and mic and the whole deal. And the producer the kid takes care of us. Real good kid. Says, "So what about the jumping? Did you jump?" And I stopped and I said, "Wait, did I jump?" And he said, "I don't know." And I said, "I don't either." I said, "I don't think I jumped." And my OTF is going to come out like this. I said, "I don't think I jumped." I said, "I can tell you this. I never intended to jump. I did not even try to jump. I can tell you also that I was thinking about it the whole drive down. I've been in the lights 1,000 times. I have never red lit. So if it did, it was a total accident. It wasn't intended. And they said they fixed the lights. And if they fixed the lights and it was green, right, then it's green."
It was green. And obviously we don't have like the most sophisticated camera equipment. We're like examining a Facebook live feed, and we had like, I'm cutting this thing down and slowing it down or whatever. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, man,
I did it too.
It was illuminating. I mean, it was, you know what I'm saying? I mean, literally the light was turning green. And I also think Cody was pretty late. So I think that made it look worse, perhaps, than maybe it was. I don't know. Interesting situation that I really wish you guys didn't have to deal with.
I hate it. But I can tell you, I had video from behind. Now the exhaust is going through the light. And I didn't have it at the time, but like I said, in that time where we're waiting to get ready to go the rounds, nobody comes over to me and shows me a video. Nobody. And Cody and I should be close enough friends that if he knew or he had damning evidence from behind, he should come over and show it to me. But everybody gets caught up in the moment. I was caught up in the moment. What I should have done when I heard that was go to Cody and say, "Hey buddy, let's talk this out, because I don't think I did." And I looked and I tried to find my video. It's grainy. And like you said, and this is the odd thing about the light. So the internet has video of it from the side. Well, from the side, because if you've drag raced, when you're looking at that little filament, it lights up on an iPhone frame. It takes like 5 frames of an iPhone to be fully lit. You know this, right? So that's when you're sitting in the driver's seat 12 feet away. You're the only one with a direct look at that tree. The people in the stands, they don't get to see it until it's full green. And that light does this. And so by my video, you're right. It was
illuminating.
Super close.
Like, I'm assuming that you're in there and you're seeing the filament start.
I'm staring at the filament.
That's what you're supposed to do, right?
That's what I do.
And it's interesting because we were going to have Alexis DeJoria on the, Nitro Funny Car, NHRA Nitro Funny Car Superstar, won this past weekend in Bristol. Mike, I can't remember what her light was. Wasn't she like 011? Is that right?
That's bad. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, 011 in a funny car is impossible. Like, I mean, that's a bad job red lighting. I mean, you can't. Nobody does it. You know what I mean? Like, it's no one's trying to go 011. And I immediately, when we were having this discussion Monday night on the show, the conversation kind of came up like, hey man, that kind of happens. People cut it close. I mean, it's not to say that I don't think Alexis would tell you that she rolled in, turned the bottom bulb on and took a shot at it, but she nailed it. Right. I mean, and that's honestly kind of what I saw at this past weekend, was you nailing it.
Yeah. And very honestly, I watched that video and here's what I understand about it. It's not condemning, but it's also not like it doesn't. Yeah. Did I flinch a little bit early? Looking at that video, it's entirely possible. But I can absolutely tell you, the all honest of raising my hand, I did not intend to do that. And that's the truth, and that's how it has to stand. And the same thing. I already lived it. I already made the choices that maybe weren't right, but I did what I thought was right, and you live with it. And that's part of, like, here's the deal about when you decide to be on a reality TV show that is a drag race. You have accepted that everything you do, even if you say something really stupid to a friend, It can be filmed, it can be shown, and it's forever encapsulated with you being a jerk. And
Yeah,
that's just how it's going to be.
in the context is rarely there, right? I mean,
Right.
the context necessary to answer some of the questions or what have you
Oh,
is
yeah.
rarely there. So it's a tough thing, man. I actually had people tell me multiple times, like, "Hey, man, just so you know, like almost everybody up here is mic'd up. Like
Yes.
everybody up here
Yeah.
is mic'd up,
Yeah.
just so you
They
know."
are.
And I'm like, "Oh, wow, that's really interesting
Yeah.
to think about." And
They're
I don't
mic'd the
think
whole time.
yeah, that's a pressure that most drag racers have never ever
Mhm.
experienced. And I want to kind of use this opportunity to introduce our next guest and bring him on here with us momentarily, Robert, because I think there was an interesting thing, and one of the coolest things I saw in 2021 was in the first round. The
Yeah.
very first round this past weekend. What a moment. Like, I literally looked Sam Corcus in the face and I said, dude, you just had yourself like a real deal drag racing moment that could go up against any Top Fuel blowover or side by side pro stock record or whatever. The first round of action, you going up against points leader Ryan Martin. You've got all these
Good
people down
friend.
on the starting line, a friend of yours,
Love him like a brother.
two of the baddest cars on the property, undoubtedly. You've got Corey Swanstrom, Big Country, and Little
Yeah.
Country Justin Swanstrom down on
Yeah.
the starting line, stirring the crowd up. I mean,
Hugging my wife.
I know. I looked down there at one point. I looked over, and Corey, who I just think is a superstar in the making. They better not point the camera too much at that guy because he's gonna steal the show. But
Yeah.
Corey's looking
I've
you
grown
in
to
the
appreciate.
face. I
Yeah.
mean, he was
He
looking you
came
in the
down and
face
he's
in the
pointing
car.
out,
He's
I'm in the
like,
car, and he's like, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I thought that was awesome.
Hey, we've become pretty close over this as a team, and we've been through some bumps, but we worked them out like men. And but him come down there like that, it was a big. I mean, I just like, this is my boys.
It was
I'm trying to win this
incredible.
for the
So with
boys.
that said, let's bring on your buddy, the one and only Justin Swanstrom, Little Country. What's going on? I keep clicking it and you
Uh-oh.
click it. There he is. What's up, Justin?
Hey, how
What's
you
up?
doing, boy? How
Oh,
you
you
doing,
got
brother?
What's up,
company.
guys?
What's
How you
happening,
doing?
man? Well, hey, everybody knows by now it was kind of one of the most talked about things over the weekend, despite all this incredible drag racing that was going on. That I really feel No Prep Kings was kind of stealing the storylines, right? Very tight points battle coming down to the wire in No Prep Kings competition. Race 13 of a 15 race series. We got two more back to back in Belrose, Louisiana, then in Bradenton, Florida. This
Yep.
deal is shaping up, as I love to say, to be an absolute barn burner. Can you guys just take me through that first round matchup? I mean, you're obviously in serious points contention, Justin. Was it a sense of relief? I mean, to see you down there cheering on this guy was kind of a cool moment, right?
Yeah, no. Anybody that could take out Ryan is awesome, and us being on the same team together, me and Robin, I was hoping he would be able to take him out. I know Friday night he was having issues, struggling. They switched turbos and stuff over, so in all reality, Ryan is supposed to win that race. But Robin being able to take him out, and I think Ryan was out in front. He had a little issue, got squirrely. Robin drove around him at the other end. So being able to see him win, take out the number one points leader, I was happy as hell. One for me, one for him, and his whole entire team. So yeah, it was a pretty fun moment because it changed everything. Ryan has had this super points lead for the last I don't know, shit, all the races, 10 or 11
Literally,
races.
yeah.
I tell everybody all the time, like Ryan's got like a horseshoe. I love him to death, but the dude, he's got the drawing pick down packed. Like
Yeah.
he is yet to have to, and that's what I told her. The only way you're going to catch these people, Kai Kelly, Lizzie, you're going to catch Robin, you're going to catch Ryan, is you have to run them first round. That's what's going to change. If they go as many rounds as you go, they're not going to gain on you, but you're not going to gain on them as well. So he finally got a hard pick this morning, and the first round, and I told Robin and them, those are the rounds that you kind of want to get. You hate that you have to race those type of people with they're fast, but if you take them out, then it's just an easy drive from there on out. And he proved that. I mean, he went to the finals after that. And nothing against any of the other drivers. There's a lot of fast people out there, but if you can take out the elite up front, then everything else kind of goes a little bit more smoothly.
No doubt about it. I mean, and it's one of the things that we've talked about a little bit is there's 32 teams involved in this deal. All of them, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but like there are some people that have to be seen as a favorable pick in that first drawing, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
for sure.
and you never want Ryan Martin.
No.
Like, but if we're going to take a championship chase, and this is what Russ and I talked about even before the race, somebody's got to get him. Someone's got to get him early. I didn't want to be the one, but that was my draw. And yeah, I was at the back of his door the whole way, and that's normal for a turbo car. I mean, he's going to be out front. He's lighter. Pro Chargers work better low. And I thought when it started to pull, I thought, oh, this is going to be real close. And then somewhere real close to the end, I saw him wiggle and right on by.
It's incredible, to be honest. Like the caliber of racing really surprised me. I mean, I had this conversation a little bit with Corey Swanstrom at the track, but I was really taken. I thought we'd see a lot of cars going up in smoke, not making it A to B. I didn't think we'd see a lot of full pulls, to be honest.
I know. You know what we didn't see? Is the fucking Pro Mod guys thought they were going to come over there and just fucking mollywop everybody. I didn't see.
They did say that.
Pro Mod car go down the track. Tell PDRA. Fucking NHRA, whatever you want, over there at Midwest, come on over there and you can get your ass fucking donkey stomped just like they were doing.
Well, those tracks are way trickier than they think.
That's what I tell people all the time. You're not just gonna come over and just think you're gonna fucking take over the world. I mean, it takes a lot of testing, a lot of stuff to go right to be able to go down a track like that. And yes, the starting line does get better because everybody's doing burnouts, but it's not the starting line you have to worry about. It's from the 330 to the 8th mile. Is where it gets a little squirrely.
Oh, you see these cars all but change lanes every single pass. I mean, that
was another thing. But we need to get with all these tracks. We got $1 million tracks, and we only got 10 fucking cones on the surface.
We run them out of cones this weekend.
How much is a cone? I've never bought a cone, so I will contribute.
They got to be $100.
Oh, they can't even be that. JT, look those up on Amazon for me real quick. Look them up on Amazon. Find out how much.
A track should have a minimum of 100 cones at all times. Like, I understand there was people taking out cones, but we finally had to take the 330 cone and then take it to the 8th mile, and then that was the last cone. Hopefully nobody else hit it. I even asked them, I said, what happens if somebody hits it? What are we gonna do? Like, put a camera at the other end, or maybe a
paint a stripe? Go ahead, go out with a spray can and paint a stripe and put a camera.
But I was wondering because it was like the wind light took a second to come on too at that. You know what I mean? And I'm like, do we got someone down there deciding who wins? What's going on? And Tyler Cross was telling us in the comments, $34.95 without shipping.
Exactly.
That's not bad, man.
There's no reason to have only 10 cones on the property.
Yeah, there should be a spare truckload somewhere.
Yeah, we got to get a truckload. We need to maybe take up a fund for racetracks around the country. Make sure we got plenty. We'll start a GoFundMe. That seems to be the thing to do, right? Start a GoFundMe and see if we can't make sure that every track in the country has a ton of cones. But honestly, watching the cars, man, scooting from wall to wall and the reaction from the fans, both of you guys have raced in other environments. And I'm just curious, there was a moment that happened where Murder Nova won first round, right? He's coming back up the return road, and I would just love to hear both of you guys kind of reflect on this. You'd have thought the Messiah was coming up the return road on a scooter with a hat on backwards. I mean, people were losing their minds. Kids are screaming, wives are screaming, grown men are cheering and yelling. And, I haven't seen that since the height of John Force's stardom at the drag strip. When you guys get that kind of reaction from the fans, because you both got it. I mean, you got it all throughout the weekend, Justin, Robin, especially after that first round win, the place was going nuts for you. Yeah. What's it like to get that kind of reaction and response from the fans?
Well,
you go first, Robin.
So if you grew up wanting to do this, that's just something that it's affirmation for one, but it's also just really cool. I mean, it just shows how much passion the fans have for this sport. And honestly, you're talking about Murder Nova driving down. If I drove down there, no one would cheer like that unless I just beat Ryan Martin, right? But every time Murder Nova drives in front of the stands, they're going to do that. And in my case, I feel like I owe those guys all the respect. They started this. They've made this. The reason we have this show are those guys, Murder Nova, Ryan, Chief, all those guys. And so I think it's just cool to see.
Justin, how about you? What do you make of it whenever you're standing up on the concrete guard wall there and knowing that all these people know who you are, maybe follow you on social? What's that like? I mean, considering how quick, I know you've been in this, you've been racing for a while, but you're quickly becoming a household name in our sport. What is that reaction like for you from the fans? You're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you. I tell everybody, the fans is what the racers don't keep the tracks open. If you
Right.
had no fans at the racetrack, the tracks would not be able to stay open. The fans are what keeps the sport alive, keeps it going. That's why you see, I try to interact as much as I can with the fans online, offline, at the racetrack. Just try to have fun with them to make them want to come back, want to spend more money with the track, get in, buy food, buy tickets, buy merch, because that's what keeps this thing going. If you didn't have them, you wouldn't have nothing at all. So I am very big about with the fans and all that. And I don't have the fan base that some of these people have due to the fact I haven't been on the TV scene yet. Maybe after this year, I think that was my goal, is to try to do good enough, because I do this for a living now. Social media is what I do for a living. So my goal was to be able to do good enough to be able to make an impact and be able to keep growing my brand. I started Swan Gang 2 years ago, and last time I was on the show, actually, I still have it on the wall right there. When I started Swan Gang in August of 2019, I didn't know it would grow up to be like this right here, and I look at it every day before I leave my bedroom. But it has grown rapidly. There's so many fans and I don't even have the big fan base yet, but my fan base that I do have is loyal. It's organic. I don't have to buy it. Don't have to do nothing. It's to the
You
point
can
now.
see it.
It's to the point now to where, like, I don't even have to argue with people no more. Like, I just go in there. I tell people all the time, and I even told Robin at times about social media. It's because I've learned a lot. I jump in, I talk a little crap, and then I dip out, and then that's it. And then the fan base actually talks for me. And if I have to come in, I'll interact with them more, talk a little crap, and then I dip out. So being able to interact with the fans is the best thing ever. And then at the racetrack, I try to put people inside the car. I try to let people start the car up so they have an experience. I can remember whenever I was younger, going to the racetrack, wanting to hang out with the older guys, wanting to go sit in their cars and do that. And my dad ran Pro Mod at the time, so it was a little bit easier. I was able to do that, but not everybody has the same opportunity that I have. So to be able to give them the opportunity to be even just sit in the car, fire the car up, let it sit there and run, they'll remember that forever. So they'll want to come back, and they'll hope that somebody else will do it again. And I hope that other drivers catch on to that and try to do it. Even though I was probably the first one to actually do it with MPK, there's other people that's starting to catch on, and they're starting to do it as well, which I think is awesome, because now you're going to get their fan base is going to look at them and say, damn, he's a good dude, which they are. We're all good guys and females and everything out there, but they're going to go, okay, I want to do that. So maybe possibly I'll come to another race, and there's a chance that I can do that as well.
And Robin, you've experienced some of this. Like on your post today, you had a lot of people coming to your defense. Like, hey, man, were you? I mean, that had to feel good, because to Justin's point, you had all these fans of yours coming on there and being like, hey, you're handling this exactly how you should have handled it. And, don't feel bad. I think that's pretty cool that you had all these people come out of the woodwork to support you.
And Robin will tell you, I told him this, half the people have to love you, half the people have to hate you. At the end of the day, they're all going to watch, and they're going to figure out this is how the world is. They have to argue. That's why we're in what we are now, from politics to everything going on. People have to argue. That's how they interact. That's just how the world is. So that's
it's
why
like what our news is built on now.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
I tell everybody all the time, the biggest promoter in the world, and Wes, you probably don't even know who I'm talking about, but who do you think is the best promoter in the world?
Donald Trump.
Hell no, Vince McMahon.
Vince McMahon is definitely. I'm a big pro wrestling guy, but I like
He's got controversy. That sells in the sport.
Baby faces and heels, buddy. They got good guys and bad guys.
He's got people that go against each other every day of the week. They may go out and eat dinner afterwards and have fun or whatever, but when the camera's on, they have a story. And people will say, okay, they're either fighting, they're either arguing. Some of them are true beefs, some of them are not. There's a lot of beefs that's going on with MPK that is true right now with going on. But I told Robin and them that. I said, half the people have to love you, half the people have to hate you. The people that support you are going to go with you all the way to the end. So I read his posts, and I see the people that are actually there for him. I see the people that are sitting there talking shit. And I'm going to be honest with you, I sit back and I hope that he's not responding back to them, because at the end of the day, it's just gonna water down his deal. So
no, I get it. It makes sense
to argue with each other.
So both of you guys have spent some time. No, go ahead, Robin. I had a question.
I reached out to Justin and said, "Hey, man, you told me haters are fans too. He's like, yep, get them. And I was like, nah, and then he's a lot more experienced at that than I am. And I want to defend myself. I want everybody to like me. That's a problem that I needed to just learn to get over. People are going to hate you. All right. And you know what? They have reason to for this, because I did something stupid.
But I got to tell you, man, that's easier said
time,
than done. Like that, developing that thick skin. I think a
is
lot of that
very
has to do with, I mean, and I don't mean to speak for Justin, but his background in grudge racing.
Yeah.
All these dudes do is scream and yell at each other. It's all,
Justin and his dad don't care. They don't care about nothing. Like,
no,
you guys want to ride them, they're like, yeah, whatever.
It prepared him for that.
More like that.
Robin, when you talked about kind of your initial connection to No Prep Kings, Street Outlaws, and all that was Big Chief.
Yeah.
I'm curious, and I want to ask this of both of you too. Robin, you go first though. What have you learned anything specifically from the Big Chief, from those superstar guys, Big Chief, Murder Noma, Farm? What is something? What's a takeaway you could share with us? Something that you've learned from those guys?
Well, I mentored last year under Ryan Martin. And I should have learned a little more, because he remains calm through a lot of things. But what I learned, those guys, you see how they conduct themselves. And I'll tell you one of and I learned a few things in that and how they carry themselves. Now, I'll be honest with you. One thing I learned watching Big Chief is I don't want to be famous. I mean, rich is great. Famous sucks. I mean, he can't go to local McDonald's in his own city without getting mobbed. He goes in Home Depot and he can't get through without, I mean, he's as big a star as there is.
It's got to be an age thing.
Because I mean, I'd say, Justin, you've got to be on the other side of that, right? I mean, you're going, I want to walk into Walmart and have people asking for my autograph.
Yeah.
Well, not even that. I mean, but I love just being able to interact with people. There's people that don't like, not that I don't like talking to people and everything, but I mean, I do. So like if I'm at dinner or whatever, like you see some people make a post talking about, if I'm eating food, don't come up and ask for a photo. No, that's what you do for a living. You put yourself
and
in
I
that
would
spotlight.
do that.
And you put yourself in that spotlight. And my guy, Brian, the one with the beard, he always tells me, that's what you get for being a rock star. That's his saying. He goes, that's what you get for being a rock star. So every time there's times that I get upset when, like I said, something's going on with the car. Like I just had one this past weekend. I try to do everything for the fans, but he made a post on Facebook talking about, I guess I didn't give him as much time as maybe I was.
This was the fan that posted something and you screenshotted it or something, right? Yeah.
And I did. And I tell people all the time, if you're going to put something online, don't tag me in it or put me in it, because I will definitely put it online, because I don't care. It's whatever it is. It doesn't matter to me. But he said that I didn't spend enough time with him. And I sent him a message. I even told him that, let me know what he bought from me. He had a Kai Kelly shirt on with a fucking hat and everything. Like, I don't care if you're help promoting other people. It don't matter to me. But he said he bought a bunch of merch from me. I told him, just send me over a list of what you bought. I will refund you your money. I'd rather just be a problem solver than to try to keep going with it. But like I told him, he came up after I just beat Lizzie. We hurt a Pro Charger. I do all the motor side of the car. So once Dad gets a tune-up, he goes inside. I go in. I go through the valves. Me and my guys, we were taking a Pro Charger off. I was trying to answer Nick, which is our producer, for the interviews. I was trying to do interviews. I was trying to take a Pro Charger off. I was trying to go through valves. I was trying to get everything ready. And Robin will tell you, when you get down into those rounds, because we were already running, they run you fast. By the time you get back, 10 minutes later, you got to go back up, and you'll spend 35 minutes trying to do a chip draw. So I even told the guys, I'm sorry, but there was just a lot of stuff going in at the time. And even my guy, Brian, he texted me. He goes, that's what you get for being a rock star. So I have to think about both sides of the deal when, I mean, I don't want to be an asshole, but there's sometimes I just cuss somebody out. But that's where Brian comes in. He goes, that's what you get for being a rock star. And it puts me back into my reality that this is what I do for a living. This is what I want to do, that there is going to be people like that are going to come up, and you can't satisfy everyone. No matter how hard you try, you'll never be able to make everybody happy. So that's one thing that I have learned in the last year and a half, 2 years, is do what you want. Whoever likes it is going to watch it. If they don't watch it, so be it. Maybe they'll come around later on in a year. I still have people that talk crap on my YouTube channel and my Facebook comments from 2 years ago are still commenting today. And I follow them. Like I go on there and I even tell them, I said, listen, you have been commenting for the last 2 years. You're still here commenting. And they're like, "Why don't you block me?" Why would I block you? I like having fun, so I'm just going to talk shit back to you, and then I'm going to keep going. It's not going to change what I do, but I do think it's cool to interact with the fans and have fun with it. You just have to. Some people want that spotlight, and some people do not, which is okay. If you don't want it, that's cool. But me personally, I love it. I love hanging out with everybody. And if I can roll into a restaurant or a room and people are like, "Damn, that's Justin," I'm like, "That's cool to me."
It's phenomenal, man. I'm happy
Yeah.
for both of you. I mean, honestly, what I said to Sam, and this is like a decent segue. I said to Sam Corcus that for those that don't know, the man behind this whole machine, the man behind Pilgrim Studios and Street Outlaws and No Prep Kings and Fastest in America and Gone Girl and all these things, all this automotive racing centric programming on Discovery Channel. Sam, I said to him, I said, man, this is what these guys deserve. Like going back to that moment, Murder Nova coming down the return road. I want every drag racer to experience. I believe that we operate in the great American motorsport. I truly do. I believe drag racing is far and away the greatest motorsport on the planet Earth. It puts all this other stuff to shame. And I'm talking about drag racing as a whole. I say it almost every week. What's the most exciting part of a NASCAR race? The drag race to the finish line. Two cars side by side coming out of the last turn. Same goes for IndyCar. Same goes for Formula One. Same goes for Monster Jam. Two vehicles side by side with a couple of badasses behind the wheel. It doesn't get any better, in my opinion. And I was so thrilled, not only for Murder Nova, but like everybody that was getting this hero's welcome, because like we all know how hard this is, how much time it takes, how much money it takes, time away from home, time away from family, time away from the business. And to see these men and women get that reward, get that feedback from the crowd, it was an awesome thing to see. And that brings me to my next question. And I've only got a couple of more for you guys. Bear with me. Sam Corcus, just talked about him. Incredible thing. What do you make of him? Justin, you've raced in a lot of different circles. You explained to us, Robin, you've been to Outlaw Armageddon. You've done the airport racing. You've done all of that type of stuff. When you look at all the other places to race, and I'm not, asking to like stir the pot or anything, but what's your big takeaway from what Sam has created here? What do you think that maybe other sanctioned series promoters could learn from Sam Corcus and what he has going on with No Prep Kings?
One thing I like about Sam, and Sam helps me out tremendously. Me and him, we talk at least once or twice a week. And he kind of guides me in what I need to do, what I try to stay away from. But one thing I like about him, and he'll even tell you, he's the only captain. He's the only one that is steering. He tells me all the time, he goes, "I'm the only one that's steering the boat. My hands are the only one that's on the wheel." He goes, "There's nobody else in there." He goes, "What I say goes. It is what it is." And that's what's a good thing about it. I think a lot of these other, and not talking about them, but I think there's too many chiefs and not enough Indians. So with that, there's too many people that is trying to put something in to be able to say, "Hey, we need to do this, we need to do that," instead of just one person. One thing I do like about Sam, and I tell people all the time, I'm a content creator. He's giving you the platform to be able to grow your brand. I know after this 1 year of being on MPK, my brand is going to skyrocket. We've already talked about it. I already see the numbers happening now. He lets you come run for $40,000 free. Every driver that comes in there doesn't have to pay a dime. They don't have to pay a dime for their crew members. He gives you the TV platform to grow your brand. I tell people all the time, there's people in there, I won't mention names, but have been doing the Street Outlaw deal for the last 6-7 years and don't have a brand. And it blows my mind because there's so much money that's on the table that can be made. He can't do it for you. You have to be able to put in what you are wanting to get out. So I seen a post the other day, and I actually reposted it. It says, "What you take for granted, somebody else will fight for." And that's what I talk to people all the time. I see it every day with even people in MPK. They want so much out of it, but they don't want to put into it. And I think that's where it changes for me, because I'm able to come in. I will put the work in. I have been doing it. I do this for a living. I plan on continue to do this, keep on getting bigger. And just having him to be able to give me the platform to be able to keep doing this, it's phenomenal. I tell people all the time, this is the only organization that you can actually go and make money from racing. And I've been in almost every class you could think of. So I love it.
I agree with Justin. Like this guy is really brilliant. he was a part of Real World, like the first reality stuff. That's how long he's been in it, and we're lucky enough to have him guiding this ship and helping us get going. And Justin, I don't talk to him much. I run a big company and do some stuff, but every time I talk to him, he's brilliant. The things that he tells you, they're like almost always right. I mean, he's just right on. He'll tell, like he texted me this morning and said, "Dude, I knew when this episode came out, it'd be hard for you. Keep your head up." He said some things like that. We talked, and that's the kind of guy he is too. He reaches out. He knows that we put our heart and soul into it. He reaches out to us and wants us to do well and be seen well. You kind of feel like sometimes you feel like, man, why did that happen, or why didn't they show it quite like that? And the truth is, he's making a show. He knows where he's guiding it, and you say to him, "Hey, what's going on? What about this?" And he gives you tips. And I mean, Justin, I think definitely my career is separate, but for him wanting to do this, he couldn't be in a better place than
I agree.
Stan.
And I mean, I think you have a unique perspective, Robin, because like there's no shame. You have a big successful business. And I think that that's probably made you recognize this opportunity maybe in a different sense, right? Like you don't necessarily need this to pay your bills or anything. But if you look at the grand scheme of things and you look at the landscape that exists in drag racing, you're going, hey, there's an opportunity here to go to the top really quickly.
Yeah. And I feel incredibly blessed just to be here. You're right. I don't have to have the show pay me. I'm very lucky, but on the other level, I know what I have, and I love this forum. It's so much fun. And the other thing, in all honesty, I can put some money over here, expense it, put it through the marketing funds. And when the IRS comes and says like, "Yep, I was on Discovery Channel all the time with my label, my brand, Central Power Systems, worth every penny."
No, absolutely. I mean, we've actually done stories in Drag Illustrated about how to like make your race program work for you when it comes to finances. And it's, there's no doubt about it. All right. Closing comments. We got 2 races left. How do you guys feel headed into Louisiana? I talked to Jim Hughes last night. He's already there scraping all the glue off the track, scraping all the rubber off the track, trying to make it as horrible as possible for you guys.
He does.
What's your take headed into these last 2 races of the year? Justin, you feeling good, man? I mean, do you think that you can upset the apple cart? From what I understand, the final race of the season is double points. So there's a lot of room here.
Yeah, me and Robin, we're tied for second right now. Like I told him, I mean, at the end of the day, we're both there to run for the 40,000 and run for the championship. I think it's going to be whoever the best to win it. Me winning the Texas race put me in a good position. Car is running extremely strong right now.
It is.
I think I showed my hand more than I should have, because now everybody else knows that they got to go back to the drawing board and try to get faster for these last.
Someone said that Ryan Martin is live right now somewhere testing. That he's live on Facebook or whatever right now testing. Yeah,
that guy needs a job so we can keep up with him.
Yeah, that's what he does for a living. And that's what my ultimate goal is to be able to. I mean, I do it for a living, but to be able to get paid and be able to go to the test, track, appearances, and all that. I mean, that's what the ultimate goal is. And right now, everything seems to be lining up perfectly. So sooner or later, it'll happen. But I just got to keep pushing forward with it. But going into the last 2 races, I think the cars run extremely strong. I ordered a bunch of parts this week. I just told my dad, I don't want, and I hope, knock on wood, me talking about right now or anything, but I hope a part failure doesn't affect anything. I think we've been doing good rounds. We've been to the last 4 semifinals and then finally pulled a final out against Robin. But I think we're going to have, it's going to be a strong ending to the end of the season. We need Ryan to go out one round, first round here early this week. Hopefully he can pull. Hopefully, I mean, I hope I pull him. I'd rather go ahead and get with him early and just figure it out. If he beats me, then I don't deserve to win it. It is what it is. But I want to go ahead and get him out early. Let's run for the championship at the end of the year. That's $100,000 to the champion. I could use that. We got some new stuff happening for next year. We got.
Sounds like you're building a new car.
Yeah, we're doing a new deal for next year. I'm trying to talk the works with Cameron right now. I'm getting hooked up with a few people, sponsorship and all that. I think we've done good this year, and my name has kind of got out there a little bit more to where people are actually hitting me up as in, hey, I want to be on for next year, which is awesome because it helps. I'm not a millionaire. I work every day. I don't try to make $1 million million off of sponsorship and all that. So whatever money that people do give, it goes right into the program, and it helps out. And I tell everybody what they get. This is what you're going to get. If you don't like it, so be it. If you do like it, you can come on board with us. And I tell people all the time, I said, we have vulgar language. This is what we post on the internet. You can check it out. If it's for you, it's for you. If it's not, then it's not.
That's okay.
I apologize. I said, but I'm not going to change. And that's probably the reason why I don't have no corporate sponsors, because I'm just not going to change. I'm not going to sit up here with a suit and tie, and I'm respectful, but I like to have fun and I like to stir the pot.
Well, you've done a great job of it.
Yes.
Robin, how about you? Like, why don't you answer for us the 3 cars? We're close. I mean, do you feel like you got a hot rod? Can if you draw Ryan Martin in round 1 in Louisiana, are you confident you got a car that can put him to send him home?
The honest answer is my car is a temperamental car. When it's working, you're in trouble. When it seems to get a little bit off, it's a little tougher. And I think that's just the format. And we're gonna have to make some adjustments in the off season. I got a new car coming together too. And
we saw Mike Bowman move away from the turbo combination, which shocked me. I never thought I'd see the day Bowman didn't have a car with turbos under the hood.
Well, the car's just finicky. So I really think Justin's got the best shot at taking Ryan if somebody does. I think we'll probably end up in that 2 to 4 slot, or maybe, and that's kind of our goal coming into the season, was to be in the top 5 the whole season. So that would have been great for me. We've been in 4 of 13 races finals, so we've done a good job. We won a race, we've had a great season. But do I have the car to do it? If it's on that day, if we hit it just right, yes. If not, I think the other cars are more consistent, just faster. So we'll struggle to keep with them.
Are you going to stick with turbos?
We're working on a plan.
Okay, there we go. There we have it. Well, hey, Robin, thank you so much for joining us, brother. Justin, always a pleasure to have you on here, man. And I was going to ask you guys, if everything works out next Monday, and I know you're going to be traveling, we've got this brand new show we're doing on Monday nights, the Drag Illustrated Ride Along. If you guys aren't throwing like a watch party, I'd love to have you guys join us. We watch the show and we react to it live. Last week we had Dave Comstock on, and it was great to get he kind of tells us the behind the scenes of what we're watching. The week before that we had Jeff Lutz. So if we could get you guys locked in to watch the show with us one of these Mondays, that would be badass.
Man, I'd love to do it.
Killer. I know, Justin, you're always down to talk trash on the internet, so it'll be fantastic. Yeah. Tell your pops hi, man, and be careful going. Right now. What now?
He's in Louisiana right now.
I know I didn't. So homeboy just stays on the road. Did both your cars go straight to Louisiana?
The Lexus did.
Robin, did you take your car home or?
Yeah, we brought it home. We threw rods in it, did some maintenance, and then we'll haul it down.
That's spectacular, man.
So he's actually already out there now. I'm leaving tomorrow night with our guys, and we're going to drive through the night, get there on Friday morning, and then unload and see what happens. I'm sure Robin's going to pull the fucking team attack again. He's had it the last.
I always do. I don't even want it, and I get it.
It's hilarious.
He's had it the last 6 races in a row. But he does great during the Invitational. But the team attack's got his number.
It's back to the temperament. It is like that. I said that team attack's got me in headlocks, been giving me a noogie the whole season, man. I just been struggling, but
I love the team aspect, and we'll have to have you guys back on, and we will actually, if we can get you on Monday night, I want to talk about the team aspect. I think it's something that we don't see enough of in other parts of drag racing that kind of just adds an element of excitement and another storyline to pay attention to. But seriously, thank you guys both so much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Justin Swanstrom and Robin Roberts. Thank you guys.
See you guys.
See you, fellas. Holy cow, man.